they should define the controls for controls. But I just want you to be aware that these are important because you don't want to have controls with too many holes. Because the health of controls requires the controls to be maintained, and they have to have controls themselves. Yeah. So that's what RACE is all about. Yeah, making sure controls are effective. Yeah. Do you get the concept? Nampak So I think the bow tie tu dia nampak clear sikit konsep. Alright. Okay, so how do you evaluate controls? Any idea tak? How do you evaluate controls are working?
Check with who's involved in the job.
Check, so you can talk to people who are doing the job, yeah, because like kita bincang semalam, orang yang dekat front line tu dia tahulah control apa working. Okay, kadang-kadang bila kita letak control dalam JSC atau PTA ni, we rasa it works, but in the field mungkin it's not practical ke, it doesn't work kan, but people in the field may know, yeah? So that's the one. 50 points untuk tim ni, yeah? Maintenance checklist. So maintenance. So okay, so right now actually I'm doing a work for one company to check whether they are maintaining their controls or not. So one thing that I'm doing is I'm looking at their maintenance records. Kalau dia kata safety valve ni kena buat setiap tahun, so saya tengok dia punya safety record, dia buat tak? Dia punya record maintenance, dia buat tak every year? So you're right, maintenance records can be another way to check that your controls are being maintained. Tapi untuk the control to be maintained, you kena ada first maintenance schedule dulu lah. So the maintenance plan will define how frequent dia buat kan. So you look at maintenance plan and then look at their actual execution sama dengan plan kita. Yeah. So yeah, maintenance records can also be helpful. Yeah. So those are the obvious one lah. Besides talking to people, you can also look at maintenance execution. Yeah. So interviewing workers, I think like you mentioned, yeah, I think that one we can help. We can definitely get some of them. Sometimes you can also monitor. Depends on the plant lah. Air quality ni kadang-kadang bila safety valve dia terbuka, you can see ada macam release of things kan. You can see things being released and so on. Dia tak tutup properly or dia chatter ke. You can see production values, production quality. Sometimes you can see that as well. But that one not always lah, not so easy. I think safe work procedures, maknanya when people do work, you observe how it's done. Yeah. If controls are there, you can see. Kalau hot work ada fire blanket, obviously they're not applying controls. If confined space, they don't do health declaration before they go in, obviously they didn't do controls. Yeah. So yeah, then you have to intervene and make sure it's put in place. Yeah. Reviewing accident and incident records. So setiap kali an accident happens, definitely there were controls that failed, for sure. Yeah. So by reviewing accidents, even near miss pun boleh. Actually not the accident, but near miss pun if you review, to get to a near miss, some controls have failed, tapi mungkin ada satu dua left that prevented the accident. So near miss tu maknanya a few controls dah tak ada, tapi masih ada one or two that prevented the ultimate accident. Yeah. So that's how you differentiate between near miss and accident. It's just how many controls left. Accident maknanya control semua dah habis. Near miss maknanya ada controls yang dah hilang, tapi ada lagi satu dua yang prevent accident. Yeah. So near miss pun you boleh understand and investigate to see what controls did not work, and you can improve from there besides accident. That's why it's important that we learn from accidents, because you can then uncover what controls didn't work and how to improve. Yeah. Equipment diagnostics, ini vibration analysis, OEM punya maintenance record and so on lah. Yeah. So some discussions. Are there any controls, safety control by the plant, equipment, process ke, or people in the 3Ps kan? Are there any controls at OSIM that you're not sure? Ni okay ke tak? Can be equipment, can be process, can be people. Maybe kita bincang sikit. Yes.
Sebelum tadi ada A quality. Contoh kita orang punya plant yang A quality was monitored by third party. Is it okay or should be us first? Then
Actually doesn't matter. It can be third party, it can be yourself. Yang penting is done, and yang penting someone actually goes through the report and confirms everything is good.
it should be done by action team or
Doesn't matter. Tapi cuma as long as the accountability is clear, contractor pun has to report to someone kan internally.
safety team.
So air safety, normally air monitoring is monitored by safety environment kan. So it's their responsibility. Dia nak buat sendiri ke, dia nak panggil contractor ke, up to them. Tapi responsibility still under them. So that one is important. So going back to the discussion points, ada tak any controls that you're not sure of?
Safety valve.
Safety valve.
Tidak pasif.
Kenapa?
Sometimes they suspect safety valve also pasif. Jadi maknanya safety valve tak bagus. But
Macam mana
so
safety?
that safety control is not effective.
So you rasa you they may be safety valve passing, tapi so that means you're not sure whether it's working or not when it needs to lah. Yeah. Normally, if it's passing, that's an indication that something's not right lah, kan? So the concern there is if there is overpressure and so on, will it work or not? And so you're not sure. So by right, if it's passing, you should. I don't know, ada spare ke tak ada spare? Set single aja, is it? Dia mesti tak ada spare lah. Because kadang-kadang and dia ada valve tak? Inlet outlet valve. Ada. So kalau ada inlet outlet valve, what you can do is you can buy a spare and swap aja. Kejap maybe do a quick risk assessment, swap, then you have time to maintain the other one lah. Because sorry,
yang valve dia beli maybe quality China made.
Tapi back to the safety valve, dia kena replace lah, maintain. Yang mana yang passing tu kena bring down, check, put in a new one. Kalau beli baru, dia kena follow standard lah. It doesn't matter. I've seen valve coming from Italy pun ada masalah. Yang penting dia ikut the quality process. Dia ada ISO ke whatever lah, UV ke apa. Janji you have that certification, it's okay. That's fine. So good points, 50 points for the team. Yeah. Sorry, dia angkat tangan dulu. Okay.
I want to if the like our company they have a petrol sheet for the equipment monitoring, but mostly people will be tembak and how can we use that petrol sheet exactly what happened in our equipment, is okay or not?
So maknanya it's like a monitoring sheet, is it?
Yeah, yes,
That everyone, some people go out every week or every day to check equipment status.
Yes.
So maknanya the concern is people maybe tak check betul-betul tapi dia titik-titik je lah. Dia ikut previous. I know what you mean, yeah. So the question is how do we get people to do it properly?
Yes.
So to me here is when team leaders and so on have to play a role. Dia kena sekali-sekala kena check lah apa anak buah dia buat kan. Ask questions. Ini you think okay, kenapa okay? Dia tak okay, kenapa tak okay? So people have to monitor. So kadang-kadang why people, if I take a step back, saya pernah tengok kenapa orang tak take seriously. Pasal dia kata saya buat kerja ni pun tak orang tengok pun, tak orang pakai pun kan. So dia rasa macam dia buat kerja pun no point. Tapi when people do that work, then the leaders pun kena tengok, make sure they appreciate the work. But they also, bila dia tahu bos dia tengok, dia pun akan lebih careful lah untuk buat kerja betul-betul. I guess that depends what's the issue. So that's what I've observed. Kalau the leaders tak tengok, then the workers pun ambil relax. Yeah. Contohnya macam I tell you one example lah. Dulu my first job is safety shift supervisor kan. So saya masa tu masih muda, so ni operator semua utai-utai, saya tak ada lampu sangat kan, dia kena pulau lah pula. Tapi saya colleague saya yang senior, dia akan check, betul-betul check, dia akan macam kalau orang ambil sampel, dia akan suruh belakang tiang tengok orang buat kerja. I mean bukannya nak spy, but you need to make sure that people are doing the job properly. Kalau tak, then you have to intervene and ask them to redo ke and so on. Monitor lah, kena monitor. Kadang-kadang it cannot run away from managing behaviour lah. That one, but it's about monitoring, understanding why, you know. Like I said, if no one does and sees what they do, lama-lama pun dia orang akan rasa kenapa aku buat, tak tahu tengok pun. So you need to make sure what they do is used juga lah, so that they see value of the work they do.
People selalu jangan tegur pun semua.
Kalau dah banyak kali tegur tapi tak ada apa-apa, then you have to think about taking some measures lah kan. Yeah.
Sambung soalan tadi, ada alternative for the petrol?
Sorry tu?
Is there any alternative for instead of the
checklist? Some you can use so what types of things that you put in the checklist contohnya? Line item.
Like pump pressure, pump igniter current, also side condition.
So contohnya some companies they use electronic and handhelds. So untuk before you can key in data in a handheld, you kena pergi to the equipment scan. So maknanya there's no way you can take daripada office ya. So you kena pergi dekat equipment tu ada scan dia, scan baru boleh take. So you tak boleh buat memang tak boleh buat daripada office. Yeah. So that is how you can use IT and tools to make sure people do the work lah.
Now we just like need to ask for WhatsApp every time petrol need to update WhatsApp. But always there's one things lah about the people need to list their own asset. I mean like phone.
Yeah. So, but getting people to use checklist is always a challenge lah, you know. But it is doable. You have to monitor and encourage use IT tools, latest technology and so on. And nowadays even you can use a lot of this kan sekarang banyak wireless stuff. Vibration semua boleh monitor wirelessly dah. You can buy tools, you pakai magnet letak je, then you can remotely, you know, so there are a lot of tools you can use juga, yeah. But I don't think you can run away fully from checklist, but you can try to reduce what requires checklist lah.
What is the point of ISO actually? ISO report.
ISO, contohnya ISO apa? ISO banyak. Different what ISO is.
ISO for record keeping for
9000.
Yeah.
ISO 9001 ni dia it's about quality. It's about how you maintain your process. It's not only about documents, but it's about how you have KPIs. It's about how you track those KPIs, how you continuously improvement, how you. So it's about quality as well. What I mean quality is about making sure that you do work in a consistent manner. Ada procedure, ada target, ada learning. Kalau ada deviation, you learn from deviations and so on, corrective improvements and so on. So it's not only about safety lah. I mean it helps safety juga, but it's really about operation, safety, reliability, product quality, everything. By right with quality ISO 9001 for example, you would have good documents, procedures semua bagus, ada review cycle, you know. It helps safety, tapi dia tak ada specific on controls ke apa, not really. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, good question on checklist. Any other controls that yes?
Safety controls that I'm not sure about working at Austin is that the requirement to wear full body harness at a height of 1.5 meter.
Full body harness.
Yeah. So the neck of the lanyard is at about 1.7 meter. So, example, when we're working at height, we're usually working at scaffolding. So the workspace is very restricted, and this lanyard will may cause tripping.
Betul. I understand. I have worked for companies that have the same requirement lah. Yeah. I think there's some legal thing as well. I think legal requirement plays a role here juga. Memang dia kata kalau above 30 meters you have to use. Tapi I agree with you practicality. So if you ask me practicality, if kan we talk about hierarchy of controls kan, rather than if you can have engineered controls, very proper hard barricades, memang orang tak boleh jatuh, that will always be better than harness kan. If the work can be done on proper platform rather than an extended scaffold, then better. It's always safer than harness. So to me, I would always try to avoid situations where people have to wear harness. But if you have to, then I guess you have to lah. I agree that kadang-kadang the wire, the tali itself will still let you loose kan. Contohnya, yeah, but it is what it is lah. That one, cuma I agree it's a bit cumbersome, but it can still save people. It can still save people. Walaupun tinggi tak sangat, tapi I would still suggest kita pakai lah. Yeah. Yeah. But it is a bit cumbersome, I agree. 50 points. Good question.
Another thing.
Yes.
Cooking procedures.
Cooking procedures?
No, working.
Working and cooking. Okay.
Working procedures. Sometimes it's already there actually. Macam kita dah ada procedures for this start up or shut down. But then ada orang intervene lah. Tukar procedure. Sometimes not following the procedures. That one is very unsure.
You mean siapa yang intervene biasanya? Orang yang senior bos. Okay, dia macam ni. Dia that happens. Cuma the right way of doing it is, kalau there are changes from procedure, ideally you identify upfront. That's why before major shutdowns, planned shutdowns lah, you always review procedures. Prosedur ni masih okay ke tak? Then you update it before the planned shutdown or startup. Tapi kadang-kadang in the process, tengah startup, something happens that you have to change the procedure kan. So that one, but the right way of managing it is, you still have to talk to your boss. Okay, boss, kita step ni tak boleh jalan lah. Kita kena deviate from procedure. So the right way doing it is, you do a quick risk assessment. Okay, step baru ni apa hazard dia? Ada any hazard ke tak? So you do a quick risk assessment, you dengan your boss, maybe safety ke kalau relevant. And if the team believes, okay, this step is not an issue, then put a note on the procedure itself. Agree to proceed, sign off with the boss. Dan jalan, boleh. So there is ways to manage changes on the go kalau perlu. Tapi that risk assessment needs to happen. Yeah. Tapi like I say, ideally you update before lah. Tapi kalau perlu, that's what I would say is good practice. Pasal katakanlah, I'm just playing devil's advocate juga lah. If you decide to not follow procedure, and something goes wrong, siapa yang akan kena bincang, kena panggil?
This is our case actually.
I mean, so that's why if the right way is you do assessment together with the person that asked to do that, and kalau both agree is safe, both just put a quick sign off, jalan, it's fine. Cuma kalau semua asyik banyak macam tu, that means the procedure kena habis lah. Kalau once in a while, then it's okay. So that risk assessment is still important. Because kadang-kadang when you change things on the go, you tak habis fikir kan. So that you take a step back and do assessment kejap, it's worthwhile to do lah. So yelah, but I know it's easier said than done lah kan. Nak get, boss, jom kita review saya. I know it's easier said than done, but that is the right way of doing it lah. Yeah. It's dapat orang buat. Because the general guidance is procedures are there to be followed. The only time you are allowed to deviate from procedures is where you have done review and agreed to deviate. Kalau tidak, no one has the mandate and right to deviate, kan? No one has a mandate unless someone agrees and reviews and signs off. Because procedure you siapa yang approve? Yeah. So kalau boss kata, I dah sign, I dah approve, kenapa you tak ikut? Kan dia dah approve kan? Tapi kalau dia kata, okay tak apa, kalau you nak deviate, you can review and then you mark it somewhere, sign off, then jalan. Boleh. Bukan prosedur kita. Kalau prosedur kita sendiri boleh lah, kita nak adjust kan. Tapi prosedur tu dia approve, so we have to follow. But I know it's a dilemma lah. I know I understand yang dilemma. Saya pun pernah dalam keadaan sama juga. Alright, good question, 50 points. Anything else on controls?
API system.
Okay, ada. Yes.
I'm not really sure about the effectiveness of our H2 gas, portable H2 gas tester. Because if we doing hot work, we just inspect. For example, we have a tie-in job. We make a gas check around the tie-in area, because as we know the characteristics of gas, it can spread around. And then if we check at that time, after 5 minutes of work, maybe 10, after half an hour, there is other H2 gas exists. So it's still dangerous. So the effectiveness is still not really confidential.
So this is you doing gas testing before the tie-in work.
Yes, unless you have a gas test each point of the area, work area, because if we just do only at one time,
Betul.
not really confidential.
So gas testing have the strategy for gas testing, you kena cater for the hazard. Some work you can buat sekali saja and mungkin dah okey dah.
Tester tu perlu competent person.
Kena so you have all this AGT and so on. Gas tester kena competent. Doesn't matter, kena competent. So it cannot be anyone, So even by law pun gas testing must be AGT, So certain work you can do once and let go. Certain types of work you have to repeat gas test maybe every hour, every 2 hours, every 4 hours. But certain types of work you must have continuous monitoring. Ada I don't know what you have continuous monitoring so you can buy, contohnya you can buy portable gas monitoring equipment. You letak aja kat tempat kerja tu, dia akan ada gas dia akan beat. So tak perlu orang test pun, dia akan detect. So depends on the hazard, you can decide how. Again, it goes back to risk. If the risk is high, your controls must be more stringent. So continuous monitoring is the most stringent. Once off monitoring is the least stringent.
Because if we did for tie-in job, the hot work will not the full day. I mean like maybe couple of hours. But we know that 1 hour. Maybe I think not to be checked every time. So after we check, then there is no other process like pressure loss or other things. I mean it's okay.
Yeah. But I think going back to your question, to me kalau that's the concern, then you should have maybe even continuous monitoring in place lah. Macam periodic, macam once off saja tak cukup. Kalau the kerisauan hydrogen tu masih ada kan. Because if it's hot work, kalau ada hydrogen you kena stop. Because you can have explosions kan.
Additional untuk welding tu kan sir, saya sure macam kan welding kan lepas ke welding kan, is it perlu ada orang yang betul-betul competent untuk check welding tu ada sampai proper welding because
Type DPT and so on lah. So sepatutnya adalah that you have proper QA QC over welding kan.
Yang orang tu patut dari macam production department atau safety department?
I would say neither. Someone maintenance or engineering background yang tahu pasal welding. Pasal dia kalau orang yang tak train pasal welding, you wouldn't know how to test pun. Saya pun dah kerja lama, saya tengok macam tu je, saya pun tak tahu nak macam mana. Kan? You have to do dye pen ke, to check for cracks. Macam dia again, I would always look at it risk base. Kalau pipe air, okay lah, you tak nak inspect pun bocor air saja kan. Line hydrogen, you better inspect properly. So dia very small molecules, dia boleh leak kan. So apply risk based lah. Kalau hydrogen, benda yang toxic, flammable, you should do proper QQC.
Because I mentioned because kadang dah eject apa semua, lepas tu kena leak lagi.
So normally when you do QQC, you have to do by people that are competent and trained lah. Dia ada proper welding, ada apa dah? Ada welding punya pre-qualification lah, QQC, ada dia ada qualification dia. Pre-Q and so on.
Dia punya dia pun ada banyak step.
Hydro test semua kan, hydro test you do macam mana. But I think just keep in mind when it comes to all these QA/QC semua ni, technically speaking dia bukannya control, yeah. Just to take note. So when it comes to our facilities, welding control sebenarnya is not control. Those are basics. When it comes to one conversation please, yeah. So when we talk about controls, we assume that the basics are done correctly. Welding you did properly as per procedure, you do QQC as per procedure, you know. Controls are things that are beyond the basics lah. Macam design, you tak payah cakap okay, design kena ikut standard, design you dah assume the basics must be done right. Kalau the basics pun not done right, kita buat control macam mana pun susah. Yeah, so the basics macam welding checks, engineering calculation dah buat, no, that one kita pun tak boleh nak kan. There has to be done, basics has to be there lah. Yeah. Okay, bagus question. 50 points. Yeah. Yes.
Talk about H2 gas.
Hydrogen ya.
Dekat Osim ada macam dua. From safety side, if kita before buat hot work semua, gas should be 0%. But from the superior, kadang-kadang dia cakap, okay, this gas cannot reach the LEL level, explosion level, so it's safe to work. Which one better? We follow yang 0% or yang LEL yang level, explosion level?
So as a company, you have to define your acceptable requirements. So normally in your own procedure, you have to define work can only proceed between this range. But normally you would put 0% lah. But I have seen companies that allow work at some percentage, tapi that is written in the procedure that we allow work at even at certain percentage of LEL. Tapi dia is procedure lah, bukannya kalau tak ada procedure, orang ni kata ni, orang kata tu, bahaya. So it has to be established in your procedure that X percentage is acceptable. Kalau tidak, you depend on people, different people akan have different values kan. Yeah, so it has to be established, clear guidance. Macam oxygen walaupun in the air is 21%, you technically, I've seen people allow anything between 19.5 to 23.5%. Yeah, so there is threshold. So itu pun basically saya tengok dalam prosedur, it's allowed. Yeah, LEL pun there is some leeway, but it has to be clearly established upfront, not decided on the last minute. And again, different gas dia punya, you may not, different gas you may not decide, you may decide to do differently kan. So yeah, so I would encourage that one, define, because that is a control. Gas testing is a control. But if your standard is not clear, it means your control ada hole lah. So you have to be really clear what's your standard in terms of LEL. So I'm not saying above 0 cannot do work, but you have to define it as a company first what it is. Safety lah kena define. Kalau safety kata berkeras kosong, dan procedure, then orang tak boleh go against that lah. Kalau orang go against that, say lah, this is the procedure, I don't have the right to go against that.
I think that's about how the maintenance, if the compressor just for maintenance, inspection or other things is not involved with hot work, I think that's okay. Below the explosion limit.
So yeah, so indeed, so those kind of criteria can come in. You know, if there's no hot work, and you have done this assessment to make sure that isolation semua dah okay. You know, so yeah, that one is I've seen that been done. So tak ada issue. But as long as it's clear lah in what situation is okay. Kan? Janganlah ada percentage tapi you buat hot work kan. So kalau tidak, kalau not clear, then people can define it differently. So bahaya. Yeah. Again, it's about because control is only as good as how you define. Kalau orang tak clear what's the limit pun bahaya juga kan. Then the control will have a hole lah. Yeah. That good question. 50 points for you. Okay. Alright. Okay, so I think let me just go a bit more. We can have a break. Okay, that's right. Alright, kita dah habis modul 5. So modul 5 is quite short, yeah. Just remember, controls are only as good as how effective they are. Yeah. So that's the point of this module. Yeah. Okay, let's have a quick break. Now it's 3:17. We come back at 3:25. 3:30 lah. 3:35, okay lah, 3:35. Negotiation aku dah. Okay, let's go.